Hi everyone, this is Amanda from Energy Tech Meetup, and this is another episode of ETM Talks. Today with me, I have Jen Wee from T-RECs.ai. Thank you so much for joining, Jen Wee.
Hi, Amanda.
I'd like to start off with just saying thank you to all the ETM community as well for subscribing. So if you haven't done so, please do subscribe and like this video. And now I'd like to invite Jen Wee to introduce himself and also your company.
Hi, my name is Jen Wee. I'm the founder and CEO of T-RECs.ai. In fact, essentially, we are a green tech company. So we operate a marketplace slash trading exchange for renewable energy certificates. So essentially, renewable energy certificates, in short, RECs, is the most common way of the green corporates fulfilling their green energy needs. So they procure renewable energy certificates to fulfill their needs. So we operate a database, not really a database, an exchange to allow generators who produce renewable power to be able to find off-takers of their renewable power with the green corporates. So essentially, we just a middleman to allow people to be able to easily transact, and as a result of that, can allow more renewable power plants to be built. That's what we do.
Oh, thank you. And just for the sake of our audience members who are not sure what RECs are, can you please briefly explain RECs and how technologies like yours can support them and support companies looking to buy renewable power?
So one REC is equals to 1 megawatt hour of renewable power being produced. So renewable power means solar power, wind power, hydropower. And why is it good and why is it something that green corporates want to buy? It's because of the fact that it does not generate carbon into the environment, which is bad for climate change. So by purchasing 1 megawatt hour of renewable power or one REC, the green corporates is enabling more people to build renewable power. So that is the whole intent. We want more people to build renewable power plants instead of coal power plants, right? So if we get more buyers to be linked up to sellers, it will motivate more sellers to build more power plants that is renewable. So that is the whole concept that we're doing.
Okay. And how exactly does T-RECs.ai help RECs reach the buyers and the sellers?
Okay. So as you can see, what we are actually transacting are certificates, right? They are tangible and yet not so physical, right? So what is really important is to ensure that whatever the buyers are buying are above board, are without fraud, are without double counting. We have a registry behind us, which is internationally recognized. And at the same time, we are transacting all the operations, all the buy-sell transactions are recorded on the blockchain, right? This is extremely important because only with a transparent transaction that is open to the public that you can ensure that there is no double counting that's happening. This gives the buyers the confidence that whatever they are buying has not been double counted. So that is the core technology that we're operating on to ensure that our buyers are protected.
And I think RECs is a relatively new kind of element that people are using to trade renewable power with. So I'm wondering just your thoughts on what are the risks of RECs and how do you think we can work to overcome them through technology or through other ways?
So as I've mentioned, one of the risks that people are seeing is, am I sure that whatever I'm buying, someone else is not selling, to another buyer, right? So one part of the problem is resolved by working with a credible, internationally recognized company. So that's why all our RECs are registered with the registry that is recognized by this consortium called the RE100, of which the big brand names in the world are members of, like in the likes of the Apple, the Google, the Microsoft, the Facebook, the big tech companies, recognizes two registries in the world who will be the key safekeeper of all the RECs that's being generated in the world. So we work with both of them. On top of that, we ensure all the transactions are reflected on the blockchain for transparency for the buyers. So these are the ways that we give our buyers the confidence that whatever they are buying, are risk-free.
Mm. So I think in my head also, I'm trying to understand, does RECs really lead to a build out of renewables? Because I read a bit about the issue of additionality, and does RECs versus, for example, power purchase agreements and stuff, other kinds of market ways to buy renewable power. There's a debate about, does RECs really lead to expanded renewable build outs? So what are your thoughts on that?
So the concept of additionality is what we call a good to have scenario, right? So and it accompanies with how realistic is it to achieve additionality, right? So the world doesn't have a lot of time to make sure that we are minimizing our carbon emissions, right? A lot of such requirements for additionality, in my opinion, are really good, but it will take time and it will take a lot of stakeholders for such things to happen, right? And that is the key reason why we are building a trusted exchange to give people the confidence that these RECs that they are buying, right, answers the additionality requirements that they are looking for, right? For example, there will be people being challenged, right? That you are buying a REC from a power plant that has already been built. So I don't have to pay money to buy that REC in order for the plant to be built. But that is not 100% correct, because if I am a power plant owner, I build a power plant and I realize that I can make even more money by selling RECs. So guess what I'm going to do next, right? I'm going to build one more power plant because I know that I can make that money from another power plant. So even though there is no additionality in the REC that you are selling today, but the effect of the additionality is happening because the guys that is building the renewable power plant is going to build more because he can make money from that. To me, that's most important, right? How do you encourage more people to build renewable power plant? That's the basis of additionality, right? That's the mother of all important things that we need to do. We want to encourage more renewable power plant players to start building renewable power plants and not coal power plants. So that's the concept.
Yeah, like kind of like indirect additionality, we can turn.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So just taking a step back and looking at the bigger picture, because you're mentioning, for example, that corporates are more and more interested in buying clean power, both because of government mandates, but also even internal, new policies to go net zero by 2050. So if we're looking at both Singapore and the broader Southeast Asia region, what are some key trends in energy innovation that you're seeing right now?
Okay, so to be honest, the innovation has to come with how should I say, not so much of a tech innovation, but in Southeast Asia, we really need and see a lot of commercial innovation, the business models, how energy is being transacted, right? Because the tech innovation needs to come with the maturity of the electricity market, right? So the ideal case, the so-called the holy grail in the entire energy transition is transactive energy, right? Where A can buy electricity from B directly, bypassing everyone in between, the retailers, the wholesalers, so that the generators will be able to sell direct to individuals, right? So this is where technology comes in, right? And when technology comes in to track every single generation that's being produced, This is the holy grail. Essentially, this is what we do, right, for RECs and what we can do for transactive energy. But the truth of the matter is, in order for this to happen, the electricity market structure needs to allow this to happen, right? You need to go to Malaysia, and the Malaysia electricity market needs to enable this to happen. So the market needs to be liberalized. You need to go to Vietnam, right, which is run by EVN, state-owned electricity company. It needs to liberalize, right? You go to Thailand, it needs to be liberalized. So the country needs to be liberalized in the electricity market structure in order for such things to happen. But this is going to take a while, But climate change efforts cannot stop while waiting for these things to happen. So commercial arrangements needs to start to come in that is innovative. And that is exactly the things that we are trying to do, right? We are trying to enable electricity to be transacted between A and B without having the government, liberalizing the market. So that is the whole concept of allowing people to buy RECs instead of buying the physical electricity, right? Our platform can allow electricity to be transacted today, right? We have the technology to do that. But the market structure must allow, we need to be realistic. Asia is so different, right, from Europe and US. So different, right? It's so diverse. It's so every country behaves different. So I think, we need a lot more commercial innovation rather than tech innovation to tackle all these problems in individual markets. And that's what we're trying to do.
Yeah, I feel also Asia has so much tech innovation as well. If we look at Singapore, Japan, Korea, have these both amazing startups, but also amazing, like huge companies that have a bunch of really interesting energy technologies. But sometimes I feel like they need to be sent maybe abroad to make money from these technologies. Markets in Asia are not quite ready. So considering the regulation and the market models today in looking at Southeast Asia, and maybe it's a company or a startup is listening in right now, what do you think are the main innovation gap or gaps? And what advice would you give to startups looking to tackle those gaps? And what kind of new innovations do you think are needed?
I think really I do not have a straight answer because I think it's a really difficult problem to solve. The innovation that needs to come out is something that is instead of saying that, if the government has this regulation, right, my tech is going to boom, right? It's going to create a huge impact. But rather think about innovation that can work hand in hand with the constraints of the local regulations. I can tell you a lot of government, in different countries, they want to innovate, but they are being bounded by too many internal regulations, policies, constraints. So we need to start thinking about innovations that can work hand in hand with the local constraints to make things happen. Right? To me, that is a big gap, right? And that is what we should start looking into.
Yeah. Well, on that note, I think we have a nice final note saying that startups and companies need to work together with regulators, right? Do you have any final words for whoever's watching?
So I still think, the whole startup community in the energy sector really should start thinking and should come together to think of solution, right? Collaboratively. And you're absolutely right. If we can get regulators in, right? Understanding, not getting regulators in to force them to change regulations, but to understand the constraints that they're facing and develop solutions that's addressing the constraints that they're facing. And that is what will make things move, right? We have to do small wins, right? We cannot wait till 2049, right? To say that, the world is coming to an end next year, let's do something about it, right? We can't do that. We can't afford the time, right? So we have to do something today and be realistic.
Well, on that note, I think that's a very good practical note to end on. Thank you so much, Jen Wee, for joining ETM Talks. and we
problem.
appreciate all your insights. And to all of you looking, again, please do subscribe, like the video, help share our, practical advice from our interviewees. And yeah, keep in touch. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Amanda.